Representative Scavello.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I want to correct the record. I've heard a couple of times saying that Governor Corbett has underfunded public education, and that's not correct, because the last 3 years there's been more money in state monies into public education than ever in the history of the Commonwealth. And if not so, just show me the numbers, because that is accurate. You know, I'm having a flashback because I stood at this microphone about 6.5 years ago when we passed the last property tax bill out of this House. We got 108 votes. It was the Scavello-Benninghoff plan. It was raising the sales tax by 0.5%, taxing some other items, and raising the personal income tax 0.22. That bill left the House with approximately 108 votes because folks wanted total elimination, so didn't vote for it. Went over to the Senate, and of course the Senate didn't take the bill up. So here we are today. But before that, we lost the House in 2007, and the new majority leader at the time stood up and said, "I'm saving House Bill 1 for school property tax reform. It's about time." Go back and check 07, 08. House Bill 1 was saved, but no property tax bill was ever introduced. Not that year, and no bill was ever voted on for those 4 years. Some folks said that it is a shift. You're right. If you reduce the tax, the three main taxes, a personal income tax of some sort, either EIT or PIT, sales tax, and school property taxes. If you lower one, you're going to have to raise one or two of the others. There's no brain child here. You're going to have to find the revenue elsewhere. You heard also of the stories about folks that are really hurting out there. And I have sympathy for Philadelphia, I really do. But I want Philadelphia to have sympathy for the growing areas of the Commonwealth. Back in 1991, they passed that hold harmless legislation that froze in a moment in time the 1990 census. So I just want all of you to look at Philly and what population they had in 1990, and they've been funded off of that census till today. We, however, in the growing districts, where we've spent, I'll give you one example. I heard some numbers. I have one school district at $270 million in debt because of building construction that they had to build because of the growth in those areas. Monroe County, I was just talking to a realtor just recently, just closed on a house, and the mortgage is $380 per month. Do you know what the taxes are on that property? $820 a month. Just think about that, folks. That's what happens when we pass laws in this legislature and don't take the opportunity to try to change and correct them, especially for the ones that are doing well. Mr. Speaker, can I have a little bit of quiet here, because I want folks to hear me.
Well, the gentleman, just as his predecessor, I would observe the sound level is pretty consistent all afternoon, but he is entitled to be heard, and you may proceed.
We've got a tremendous amount of folks in the growing areas of the Commonwealth losing their homes, literally crying. I can show you hundreds and hundreds of emails, losing their homes because this legislature has not tried to address school property tax reform. This is the first time since that day that I stood at this podium and we passed that bill that we're even taking up the issue, and I commend the leaders for doing that. I've heard also the problems with this amendment. And then while I was hearing the problems with the amendment, I was watching the amendments that have been filed to this bill to see, hopefully, because if some of these folks really wanted to correct the problem, they would have filed an amendment to correct the bill. They all seem to want to help. So if they saw that there was a couple of problems with the bill, I thought maybe I would see an amendment that would correct this. But guess what? There are amendments, all kinds of amendments here, but there's nothing here that's really going to help help this amendment. I'm hopeful that we address this issue, and if it's not in this amendment, which I'm going to support, I am hopeful that we will do it for everyone, for Philly, for Monroe, for Northampton, for every county in this Commonwealth. When you buy a house, you never plan on leaving it. You want to stay in that home forever. That's your piece of your rock. But when you lose that house, the property tax, or you have to give up the house because you can't afford the property taxes, let me tell you, it's not a good feeling. I heard some comment earlier that we're really hurting the young. You're not really hurting the young if you pass a bill that really pretty much eliminates or pretty close to eliminating property taxes, because guess what? It's going to make home more affordable. Homes will be more affordable. When you go look at pricing on a home, that property tax will scare the bank away from giving you a mortgage because of your income. But that homeowner, that renter will get an opportunity to buy a house maybe a little bit sooner. You know, I owe it to my constituents. I said that I would support any bill that would reduce or eliminate school property taxes, and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm hopeful and asking the members for an affirmative vote on Amendment 03448. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair, thanks.